A little extra content here. Are we live? Are we live? We're live. Hey, this is the Team Ninja podcast, and we are live. Welcome to the Team Ninja RE podcast. I'm Ralph Nudie.
I'm Hank Bertadato.
And today we're going to talk to you about some tips for closing out 2024's. I don't know if I'd say strong because there hasn't been a whole lot of strength in 2024, but how to save your career going into 2025 is probably the best way to explain this, because I know that there are a lot of agents that are struggling out there. A lot of you have never seen a downturn like this in the past because you've only been in the market for 4, 5, 6 years. You haven't been through the 2008 crash. You didn't go through the tech bubble burst, and you're wondering, how in the hell am I going to survive with this market the way it is going into another year? Now, there are some good bits of data out there indicating that we should start to see the real estate market overall turn around, but that depends on what part of the country you're in, right, Hank?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be some market specific stuff. But I think at the end of the day, the stats don't lie. I mean, we've got some crazy stuff. I mean, to think about it, the whole country, we haven't seen this little of transactions since 1990.
Yeah.
This 34 years.
34 years since it's been this few of transactions.
Which is insane.
And it's, for example, in our market in Southwest Florida, I'm pulling comparable properties for sellers as I'm meeting with them. And by the way, inventory is no longer hard to come by.
No, not at all. We have lots and lots of inventory.
What we're wondering is, where are the buyers? And what's the answer?
Still waiting on the sidelines, I'm guessing. We've got interest rates that are still in the 6s. You have to basically sell 2 of your kids just to get in the 5s, because the 10-year bond is still up, which is unfortunate. We just...
Now, why is the bond up even though the Fed's cutting rates?
It's an inverse effect. That's what people don't understand, is that, just because the Fed cuts rates doesn't necessarily transfer over to mortgage interest rates. So Fed cuts rates. Then what will happen is we'll have like jobs reports, we'll have census reports, we'll have these different reports that come out, economic reports, cost of good reports, GDP reports, things like that. And based on that, that's where the 10-year bond will show its face.
Correct.
And if the reports are not accurate, let's say, or not telling the whole story, well, then the 10-year bond could say, oh, well, jobs are favorable right now. There's tons of jobs. Everyone's employed. Unemployment's so low. Well, then the 10-year bond's like, okay, great. Well, we can just stay high. We don't have to come down to how consumers with interest rates.
There's an inverse relationship between prices and rates on bonds. Bonds are the opposite of stocks, and it's hard for people to understand that, because a bond, when you buy a stock, you're buying an asset, but when you're buying a bond, you're buying a debt. Mm-hmm. And so you have to think about it in really, really simple terms. And actually, I'm going to grab a piece of paper. I'm going to show these people these really simple terms, because I think it's going to make sense. I'll be right back.
Well, you do that. People don't understand the concept, and I'm hoping the illustration you're about to give is going to really help them. But so just because the Fed cuts rates doesn't mean that interest rates are going to come down. And that's a big misconception.
It is.
And so we have to, there's a lot of other factors that go into declining mortgage interest rates. So when looking at it, you can't just say, oh, the Fed cut rates, so interest rates are going to go down. It's not a direct correlation.
Correct. That's the overnight rate at which the Federal Reserve is lending money to the banks, but it is not the rate at which the banks are lending to consumers. And when it comes to mortgages, mortgage rates are based on mortgage-backed securities, which are bonds for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, which is government mortgages. And most mortgages fall under one of those. And so the way a bond works, whether it be a treasury bond, which does not directly affect mortgage rates, or a mortgage-backed security or a mortgage bond, is you're buying a debt. So let's say, for example, you're buying this $1 debt. Okay. And So here is a note that is going to be worth $1 1 year from now. It's going to mature a year from today. So right now it's December 10th, 2024. On December 10th, 2025, I can cash this in and I can get $1, but I have to buy it now. So the way this works is, first of all, am I going to pay more than $1 for it?
I hope not.
If I pay more than $1 for it, I'm already guaranteeing I'm going to lose. So the question doesn't end up being how much over. The question ends up being how much under am I going to pay for this? So if stocks are doing well and I can make money in the stock market, I'm not going to buy this bond because the bond is a sure thing. Okay, but it's not going to give me a very big profit. It's going to give me a low profit. So, for example, nobody wants to buy this thing, and I say, okay, I'll spring for it. I'll pay 95 cents for it. What does that make the effective rate? 5%.
5%.
See,
Yeah.
see. Now, let's say that tomorrow there's another bond goes on the market, and tomorrow the stock market starts to show signs of weakness, which is not showing, and people want to get out of stocks and they want to get into this. And the cool thing about this is it's a sure thing. You're going to get the dollar in a year. So now what ends up happening is everybody starts bidding on this. And you know what? I'll pay 96 cents. And then Hank says, I'll pay 97 cents. And I say, I'll pay 98 cents. And Hank says, I'll pay 99 cents. And I'll say, I'll pay 99.5 cents. And now we're down to this bond is only going to give me a 0.5% yield in a year. But the reason an investor buys it with only getting 0.5% of their money is because they're for sure going to get something of a profit on it, as opposed to risking on a stock market that they believe is going to show them a loss. So bonds become popular for investors when they think that stocks are a losing proposition. But when they think stocks are a winning proposition, these bonds, that's what they're worth. And the lower they go down in value, the higher the rates.
Yep.
How's that for a good explanation?
It works out pretty good. Makes sense to me.
I learned that from a guy named Barry Habib. If you ever want to really understand how mortgage-backed securities work, we should have him on one of these days. Barry's a friend of mine. I met Barry probably 25 years ago as a speaker at a Todd Duncan event. Todd Duncan was a mortgage industry trainer at the time. He's got to be older than Moses by now, because he wasn't a young man then. But boy, he put on some fantastic training. So let's get back to the real estate market. We're up over 6%. Historically, rates aren't that high if you look at over a 30, 40, 50-year period. But when you look at how spoiled people got from 2008 until now with low rates, 6% seems high to people, which to me makes me laugh, because I remember refinancing people because rates fell below 7. And there is a big mad rush for people to refi their 8.5% and 9% mortgage rates down to 6.875, 6.75. And then that was in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then the tech bubble burst in 01, and we had a kind of a little bit of a housing recession then. Nothing like what we had in 08, and nothing like we're experiencing now. This is pretty rough. Yeah. So, Hank, what are your tips for somebody who's in this business, wants to stay in this business full time, hasn't been in this business long enough to really have gotten their sea legs underneath them, and now the rug got pulled out? What would you recommend they do?
I mean, there's a couple different things. I think first and foremost, we got to get back to the basics. We've got to get back to cold calling. You've got to get back to showing as much value as possible. You've got to grind it out and know that, hey, this is not the end all be all. I think part of it is that the values right now, our home price values, are not low enough to justify the interest rates. So, typically rates go up, prices should come down. The problem is rates went up, prices didn't come down.
Right.
And they didn't come, or if they came down, they didn't come down enough.
They didn't, but I feel like they're coming down enough now. They're coming down hard.
Yeah.
The problem is most sellers don't want to get real. No. And so you've got a lot of fluff on the market. You got a lot of houses that are 2023 prices. 2022 prices, which we're off 2022 prices by at least 30%. Probably closer
easily.
To 40.
I think inexperienced listing agents need to, basically put it out there that, hey, Mr. Seller, you are overpriced. And if you actually want to sell, then this is where it needs to be priced at. And I think one of the problems is that we're still letting sellers dictate where the market should be going in terms of price.
But they don't know.
They have no clue. But our listing agents are so soft because, hey, we went through this time where, hey, you can throw it up for any number. You can throw any house up for any number, and you're probably going to get it with 10 other offers. And it's just, was the reality. Well, now we're coming into a balanced market to where, we have 5 months of inventory, 6 months of inventory, and these buyers are coming in and they're fighting a couple different things. But they have choices. They have lots of choices. So you've got to stand out as an agent. Stop. I don't know why we go into this down market and agents are back to iPhone pictures. Why are we doing this?
Because they're trying to cut corners and save money because they're not making any money.
Stop.
So when houses were easy to sell, they were getting professional pictures because they knew the commission check was coming. And now that houses are harder to sell, they're trying to cut corners and they're taking their own phones and taking pictures. And it's counterintuitive because there's so much inventory that if your pictures look like shit, and that's bottom line, nobody's going to look at the house, and your seller's going to fire you. So you have agents taking listings they know they shouldn't be taking. They're overpriced, and they know they're not going to sell. So because they know they're not going to sell, they don't want to put their money where their mouth is and get photos done on the pictures.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this is a great example. So we're going to take on a listing next week,
Mm-hmm.
and this listing was on the market for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
overpriced, not by a lot, but overpriced, got down to the price to where we want to list it now.
Mm-hmm.
Before they terminated about a month ago.
Yep.
iPhone pictures. It's in a beautiful community. It's a beautiful home. Was not showcased right at all.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go in there, totally redo everything, make it look fantastic, first impression, and I can almost guarantee you we will have it under contract in the first week. Guarantee you, first week.
Wow.
Because it's going to be priced right, if not a little bit under. It's going to be the best deal in the whole huge 3,000 home neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the other agent did not do it justice. And so, unfortunately, lucky for us, we're going to go in there. We're going to knock it out of the park. We're going to spend a little bit of money. But our return, I believe, is that we're going to get it sold and under contract within a week.
That's really good.
7
in this market.
days. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of competition out there. In our MLS, Southwest Florida MLS alone, for example, in the last 30 days, there have been 4,702 new listings in the last 30 days to hit the market.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, if we narrow that down to single family homes so that we can, have an apples to apples conversation, and we know we're not talking about condos because the condo market is a whole different animal altogether. So let's look at single family homes. Single family homes alone, 2,784 new listings that have hit the market. Solds, all right, in that same period, 1,208.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's not including the properties that are on the market right now.
Yeah, and
So
they've been on the market for months and
So-
months and months.
So you have twice the number of houses hitting the market, more than twice. It'd be 2,400, more than twice the number of properties hitting the market
Mhm.
on a monthly basis than are selling. And I can tell you this. Oh, that, by the way, is a new agent that just dinged me that wants to come get in this business. Who'd want to get in this business now? He wants to get in this business now. He's like, what do you think I should do? And I said, run away. Run as fast as you can from this business if you're not already invested in it like we are. Now, I'm kidding. You can make a living, but you have to really, really be smart. So think about that. We got more than double. Now, if we take that and we look at condominiums, all right, 1,398 condominiums hit the market in the last 30 days.
1,400, yeah.
370
Have sold. Jeez.
All right. So you're talking 370 out of 1,300. 6, 9. So you're talking 70. You're talking 4 times the inventory hitting the condo market as selling from the condo market in a 1-month period.
Yeah.
So in other words, the inventory is growing. And if you look at the total number of properties that are even on the market right now, condos on the market, it's so many that it won't even give us a number. But it's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of properties in our MLS. So you have to be competitive. You have to be better priced, better looking property, better photography, better video, better everything just to make it work. For example, you saw the one that I just put on the market. I just put a property on the market that all day long. What that house was sold for a year ago? There are 3 houses off the river across from they're building the food truck park there on that main basin.
2 years ago.
Well, 2 years ago it would have been $2 million.
Yeah.
1.8.
Yeah, 1.8 probably.
Yeah. A year ago,
maybe
$1.3 million.
1.2. Yeah,
Yep.
1.2, 1.3.
Yep. I put it for 930.
Yeah.
930. And professional videography, professional photography. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like to me, so you can kind of get an idea how we market a property. So let me jump in and share that with you real quick. Let's see here. Present. I'm not going to play the whole long. Okay, what do I do here? Okay, we're going to share the screen. There we go. All right. So you're going to see my whole screen right now for just a minute. So you're going to see the cascading effects of going, woo, there we go. And now let's go to the actual blog post. So this is the blog post for the actual property. And I do a YouTube video on every single property. And let me turn the sound down. You don't have to hear this and hear me talk. By the way, Hank, did you know that real estate videos with a person in them are 80% more likely to be watched all the way through than one with no person in them?
No, I did not know that.
So a lot of the videos that you see out there are not even videos at all. They're just photographs that are moving, like a slideshow, or they're just video of the property. So with every single video, I narrate them, and I do something where I'm either standing in front of the property or sometimes sitting in front of a green screen with a property behind me if it's not, but this one here, we did something kind of clever. We came in with the drone. We dropped in on me speaking, but then the entire rest of this video that you're watching here, there's a voiceover script that I read into this microphone right here. I read into the microphone, and then we put it in the backdrop of the property. And it's so easy right now. You can use ChatGPT to help you write your scripts. If you don't know what to say, we're not using it right now. We're doing this freestyle, old school. But if you don't know what to say and you need to come up with a script, it's so easy to do. So I embed the video into the blog post. I make sure that my seller gets it. This video, for example, if you go to YouTube right now, and this is something that people don't understand, and this is a huge listing tool for me. And by the way, if you get a hold of me, I'll show you how we do this. But this video itself, if I can pull it up right now, I've only had for 6 days, and I already have over 15,000 views on this video.
That's insane.
We are spending money boosting this better quality video. And then we got the better quality photog right in here. You got the, and of course, if you're at Epic Realty, you got professional photography for free. If you want to know how to if you're using your iPhone because you can't afford photography, but you're aggressive, you want to be a listing agent, you should talk to Hank or myself, and we can explain to you, no matter what state you're in, how this company takes care of its agents and makes sure you have all the tools you need to be successful. But look at these high quality photographs on this property. Looks like you're on an island here almost. You're not. Yeah. It's a peninsula. But the reason that I write the blog, and again, I use ChatGPT to help write the blog. If you have a website with a blog function, you should be doing this. All right. And then I go and I get a domain name and I apply it to this. Then I go and I post it on our Facebook page. I have a Instagram version of it. I have a TikTok version of it. And then this is very important. When you're interviewing your sellers, when you sit down with them, you need to be asking them, as you sit down with them, what social media do you use? What are your social media profiles? Because we want to connect with the people that know you about your property. Because believe it or not, sometimes we can help you sell property to somebody that you know, or somebody that knows somebody you know that would have never known the property was for sale with any other agent. And we're doing this for 2 reasons. Number one, we really do legitimately want to help this seller get their property sold. That's the number 1 reason. The number 2 reason is we want the sellers to brag to their friends about what a great real estate agent they have. And so going back to my CRM here, I'm going to, you know what, I probably shouldn't do that because it's going to give you all of their identifying information. So in the CRM, I send them an email. So I'm going to pull it up. I am not going to show it here because I don't have it blurred out, and YouTube will punish us if we start showing email addresses and phone numbers and all of that. But in the email that I send them to explain to you how it's worded, I'm going to pull this up somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight. Hey guys, great news. Your listing is now active on the MLS and all of our websites. Additionally, I have a YouTube video and a blog post done to optimize your home's visibility. Please share this on your Facebook page. Go like our page and share this on your Facebook page. You'd be surprised how many friends and family don't know your place is on the market, and they may know somebody who wants to buy your property. And then I send them the link to the Facebook post, which that I can screen share real quick. So let me get to that, and I'm going to come back around and share this out. Oh, I was sharing the screen the whole time. Oh, but it wasn't in it. All right, there we go. Back to sharing the screen, and you have the infinity screen going on there, and then there we go. So the Facebook post, which is very well written, and there's a couple of tricks to make sure that the right photo shows up when you make the post. And again, this is something that I coach our agents with all the time. But what's in there is a link to the YouTube and a link to the actual blog post, because we want to get that blog traffic. We want to get clicks going back to it. We then turn around and we buy the domain name for the property. Mm-hmm. We point it to the blog post, and then I go on AdWorks and I promote the property from there. Mm-hmm. If you're not using AdWorks, you're missing the boat. That's another tool that we have at our company at a 25% discount over what a regular real estate agent would have to pay if they were accessing AdWorks. Yep. So there you go. It's a little pitchy, as Randy on American Idol would say. Pitchy toward our company, not pitchy as in I'm off pitch. But we do have these valuable tools, and whether you get them from us or get them from somebody else, it's important that you get these tools. It's important that you invest. But this goes back to what Hank said. You can't invest in a listing if it's not priced right. So don't go take other overpriced listings. I know that it sounds like a great idea to have this big inventory of listings, but if you take an overpriced listing, you can't afford to market it. If you can't afford to market it, you're not going to get any attention from the listing anyway. All you're going to do is have stale listings and a reputation among other agents as that guy or that woman who's always listing overpriced properties, and every time they see your name on it, they're going to go, oh, another one of this person's listings who are always overpriced. Yeah. I won't take an overpriced listing if unless I'm doing it by accident. Every once in a while, it's kind of on that line. But right now, I'm being very aggressive about how low I'm pricing properties, and I'm letting sellers tell me no and list with other agents, because I know I'm going to call them back in 6 months with the "I told you so" phone call that isn't quite worded that way, because we don't want to tick them off. But we do make sure that we tell them, hey, last time we spoke, I had given you a value of $435,000 for this property. It looks like you decided to list it with XYZ at $500,000. Let me ask you this. When your agent was giving you updates every week as to how it's going, what did they say was keeping the property from selling? You're going to get some really, really good answers from those sellers when it happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things, but yeah, overpricing listings right now is a big no-no. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And the reason it's tough is because the buyers aren't buying. So we really don't have comps
right
to support where our listing price really should be.
The prices are in a free fall.
They are.
They're in a free fall.
It's basically how
if you look at a comp that's 60 days old, it's already 60 days too high.
Well, and it's how, here's the way I'm phrasing it to my sellers, is how fast do you want to chase down the market?
Right.
And that's really what it is. It's like, okay,
you don't want to be in a position where you're catching a falling knife.
No, you definitely don't. So we are trying to be as proactive as possible, as realistic as possible, which is not always the easiest thing either. But at the end of the day, if we can kind of soften the blow and put it in a spot to where we can at least start to get some showings, that's where we need to be. I think, unfortunately, even we have listings right now that are not getting showings, that have gone stale, been on the market for 6 months, and they're actually priced amazing. Like, it's a great deal.
And nobody's touching it.
No, but it's also, I mean, the exact example is a $1.95 million home. So it takes that special buyer.
Correct.
But even at that just under $2 million, it's a great buy.
Right.
Absolutely fantastic buy. You put that in 2022, it's a $3 million house.
Are you getting showings?
No, I did just get one, and I've gotten one in the last 45 days. But again, it's one of those, specialty listings. It's going to take the right buyer. It's going to take someone who wants to shell out $2 million for the house. Although it's worth it. It's a great purchase.
Right. But nobody's pulling the trigger yet.
No. But even if you go down into the $300,000-$500,000 price range, no one's pulling the trigger there either. So it doesn't matter really.
What price range do you think people are pulling the trigger on the most as of right now?
I don't even think there's any, to be honest. I really don't think. I think if we went through the MLS data right now and we tried to find out what it is, I bet you would have a mixed bag of everything. I bet you would not have a price range that would be like heads above every other price range. I really don't. I think you would have 9 in this price range and 10 here and 12 here and 11 here. I don't think that you'd be like, hey, 400,000 has 50 where everyone else has 5. I don't think it's that.
I'm going to dig. I'm going to find out because that's a very curious
I
question.
think it'd be a good set, but I just don't think that there is one price range where everything is flying off the shelf.
Well, no, for sure. But are there price ranges that you think are stronger than others? Do you think investors are entering the market in that 275 to 3.25 price range yet? Do you think that the rent is supporting those yet?
No,
because rents are falling too.
Rents are falling not as fast as we need them to fall, but they're still falling.
Yeah.
But
we need the rents to stop falling.
Well, of course, but investors aren't getting 10%. They're not. They're buying a $300,000 house and they're not getting $3,000 a month.
No.
So that's
So the gross rent multiplier is way off. Yeah, they're getting you buy a $300,000 home in Cape Coral. It's not going to have a pool.
No.
It's not going to be that great of a home.
No. 1,400 square feet.
1,400 square feet. It's probably going to be north of Gator Circle. I know if you're not from our area, you're one of the. In other words, way out in the sticks.
Yeah.
All right. Where it's hot all summer and muggy, and you don't have a pool.
It's gonna, or it's going to be an older home in Southeast or Southwest Cape,
or an older home
that needs work.
Yep. And you're going to get what, $1,500 a month?
Probably $1,750.
$1,750 a month.
Probably $1,750.
$1,750 a month. So for a gross rent multiplier of 10, you'd have to buy it at 175. We're not there yet.
No, not even close. You're running a 6% ROI. Maybe if you're lucky, you're getting a 7. Maybe.
That's gross rent multiplier. When you apply all of your expenses, and figure out your cap rate, you're making 5% on your money.
5, yeah.
Maybe. And that's not good enough. It's not good enough, because if I can go make 5% on my money passively in the stock market, or I can make 5% of my money, but I have to work it like a job, I'm not going to pick the 5% that's a job.
You can go open an Ally Bank account right now and get 4.5%. Wow.
Yeah.
Which I just learned about.
4.5%.
4.5%.
Yeah. All I need is money to put in.
I know. Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, there are some institutions that you can make that 3 to 4 to 5% interest back.
So if you can make 3%, even 3% on your money in a bank, or 5 or 6% on a piece of real estate that you have to work, it doesn't make any sense. No.
Well, I mean, think about it. Your 5% return on it in real estate, you have reserves. AC blows up, water heater.
Yeah.
You got to evict a tenant.
Yeah, it's all risk.
There's so much risk right now at 5%. Now, if you're getting 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%.
Now it's worth the risk.
Now it's
worth working.
Becoming worth more of the risk.
Right.
Than whether, you're sitting at 3, 4, 5, 6%, which is where we're at right now. And that's why investors aren't even buying. And I'm getting emails all day about
Oh.
investors, and they're like, "Oh,
We'll buy it subject to
60% down."
we'll buy it
is
subject to the
worse.
mortgage, and we'll give you
Oh.
10 grand, and we'll pay your commission.
And then they don't pay
And-
the mortgage.
Right. Of course they don't.
That's the scam. If people don't know this, by the way, if you're an agent out there and you're getting offers on your listings from investors that are doing subject twos, you need to be extremely careful, because here's the problem. They're going to pay off your seller X amount of dollars. They're going to let him walk away. They're going to assume the mortgage. They're not going to pay the mortgage. And guess who's still liable for the mortgage? The old seller.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be extremely careful and get a novation from that mortgage company, which is an annexation, a separation of that seller from that mortgage.
Which they don't give, by the way.
No, they don't.
No, they're
Very rare.
There's a little paragraph in that mortgage called the due on sale clause.
Yes, correct.
And unless they're credit qualifying a new buyer, they're never going to release liability from an existing buyer. And honestly, the only times you even see that are VA loans.
I'd be very careful. Those subject to scams are coming back.
Yep.
And I've had a bunch recently. And I
get letters in my email for every listing every day.
Well, I call them out every single day, and I'm like, well, what happens if you don't pay? Well, we've never not paid. And I'm like, okay, well, what happens if you do not pay?
Yeah, define never. How many years? And
Yeah, exactly.
and
So
are you signing personal guarantees on all those? And let me see your credit report.
you need to be.
They'll get real quiet. You'll hear crickets.
Yeah, you will. So just be very careful, agents, if you're out there and you're getting offers subject to, because they're coming in. Here's the other thing: these subject twos are coming in full ask. Oh, we'll give you full ask.
Yep.
We'll give it to you, but we're only going to give you X amount down now.
Right.
So you got to be very, very careful with that. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we can kind of tie this back in. I think agents need to kind of buckle up right now.
Yep.
And grind it out if you want to stay in this business. I mean, what's coming up in 2 weeks?
Christmas.
Well, past Christmas. Renewals.
Oh.
We have all of our renewals coming up.
Yeah, well,
And that's $8,000-9,000.
Yep.
And how many agents aren't going to renew?
There's gonna be a good chunk of
There's
agents
gonna
that
be
are gonna
huge.
drop
There's-
out of this market. Yeah.
And I think if you're an agent, you want to make it work. The way that we've been talking is the fact with the new administration going in, I truly believe that come February, we're going to see a movement in the market.
We are. And that's not any one side or the other.
No.
In 7 of the last election cycles,
Mhm.
regardless of what party won, there was a bump in the housing market.
Yeah.
So the statistics show us that. Now there are some policies that I think are going into place that are going to be pro housing,
Mhm.
very much
I
so.
agree.
I think that we're going to have a Justice Department that's not going after the housing industry, which is going
I
to
think
be
the DOJ will cool off.
Yeah, I think it'll cool off. I think that this attack on realtors has hurt the housing market. I do believe that.
I agree.
Nobody is talking about the obvious, the obvious, which is if you look at the commission lawsuit settlement in August, and you look at the number of transactions that has happened since, it's fallen right off a cliff.
Yeah, of course.
That's an absolute truth. Now, could it be just purely coincidental? I mean, I suppose, but nothing else has changed. Rates haven't changed. Inflation hasn't changed. Nothing else has changed to make the housing market get worse. It was already weakening, but to make it get worse from August till now, with the exception of the commission lawsuit being settled and agents no longer being able to offer in any MLSs that are owned by NAR a buyer agent commission. And since they stopped doing that, we have seen it drop off because buyers are confused. They don't want to have to pay their agent. Buyers agents are confused. They don't know how they're going to get paid, so they don't even want to go to work.
Mhm.
And the buyers have all disappeared.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is a cautionary tale. Be careful what you wish for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so again, I think February will be telling for us.
It will.
I think that'll kind of be where we see which way we're going to go with it. I also just think that agents need to sharpen their tools in this time.
Mhm.
Like they're just being lazy. and we all fall subject to it, but I think there's so many agents that are being lazy right now. And they're, I'm seeing all the threads out there on all the different, real estate Facebook groups and all this, what else can I do to supplement my income? What can I do this? How about get back to the basics? Why are we not cold calling? Why are we not door knocking? Why are we not expires? Why are we not doing the things that we could be doing to build a pipeline for the next 6, 9, 12 months?
Right.
And, and I'm guilty of it too. Like I'm not the perfect agent out there. Like I have a lot of different factors as well, but I at least have realized it and know what I need to do to make 2025 successful.
Yeah.
And is it going to be easy? No. Is it shit I haven't done in 10 years? Yeah. It's stuff I've not done in 10 years that I was like, oh, I never have to go back to doing this. Oh, wait, no, I have to go back to do this if I'm going to build a pipeline and build the business that I used to have. Yeah. So I think that's part of the thing too, is like, don't be one of those agents that have been in the business for, let's just say 4+ years. So let's call it before COVID.
Right.
And then got complacent.
Yep.
And then you just think it's going to come back to you. No, man, I'm an example. I've closed one thing since October. I'm struggling mightily. Wow. I've got a bunch of listings.
Yep.
And I really just need a domino to fall, but I've got to make that domino fall. It's not just going to fall on its own.
Give it a look.
Yeah, I got to give it a little nudge. But I think that, all of us agents need to get back to it if we want to make this work. And whatever that is, I'm guilty of it too. I should be more on social media. I'm not. I need to get more on it.
So we need to grind in 25.
I think for the first 3 months, the first quarter, we've got to grind.
I think you're right. I think it's a 3-month grind.
Yeah.
And
we've already done a 12-month grind.
We have, and
like
I think whoever I think the people that grind the hardest over the next 3 months are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, I haven't sold this little in 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, it's been 2014 since I've sold. I think I'm sitting at like 2.5 or 3 million. Wow, it's been that long.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm used to selling in between 8 to 12 million a year. Yeah. No problem. I mean, zero problem.
Yeah, our entire team in 5 states is down by 40%.
Yeah,
40%, and that's across markets across the country. So we're not all feeling the Florida pinch. Yeah. The Florida pinch is real, but you have all these other things going on.
I think from 2022 to 2023, I was down 62 or 64%, and then 2023 to 2024, I'm down another 20%.
Wow.
So I'm pushing 80% down in 2 years, which is just. It's a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
But am I going to give up?
Hank's going to be everybody's new favorite bartender.
You can see me on OnlyFans. Come on now. Come on. I mean, I got some great looking feet. Bring it on. No, I'm just kidding. That's a terrible joke.
I was going with bartending.
All right,
I was going with bartending.
I'll be your Uber driver. How about that?
There we go.
Guys? Come on. Hop in my Uber.
I drove Uber when I first moved here from Wisconsin.
That's smart.
And handed out business cards. Yeah. Got to know the area.
Done that.
Really?
I've done it.
Wow.
I've done it multiple times. I actually got back to it a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, just doing it part time. Get back into a little bit of income. Like it's not easy, but again, at least with Uber, I get to meet people.
Yep.
That are in the area that are maybe wanting to move to the area. I mean, I've done.
And if you don't want to do that, at least do open houses.
Oh my gosh, we could talk about that in a second. But probably in Uber that I've done it on and off for 8 years. I probably closed a total of 5 deals. I would say
that's not bad.
No.
Yeah.
Driving, making some extra money.
Yeah.
Sold 5 deals. And that and I haven't done it full time. Like this is just, hey, I just clicking on, do a couple rides, whatever.
Right.
But hey, that's a great thing too. Open houses. Agents need to get back to open houses.
Yes.
Why are we not doing open houses?
I make my calls in open houses.
Well, we just got a new listing from an open house. We did an open house.
Yep.
2 doors down.
Yep.
We did an open house in the condo. 2 doors down. The owner saw us, talked to us, and was like, hey, I'm thinking about selling. Great. Met with him. He met with some other agents. He picked us. We're selling. We just listed this condo yesterday.
Wow.
From an open house.
It works.
I mean,
it works. It's always worked.
I mean, we're saying there's nothing to do and there's nothing going on. Dude, I've got 10 listings right now. Anybody can sit 8 out of my 10 listings whenever they want.
Right. It's just finding the people
Whatever.
to sit them. Yeah. It's finding the agents to go sit the listings.
So don't be afraid to go back and sit open houses.
So-
I'm sitting open. I did
So
an open house.
door
yesterday.
knock, cold call, open houses. And on top of that, that should be to supplement any sphere of influence, which should be your number one, calling every single person in your sphere. You should be doing an end of the year call to every single one of them, doing an end of the year checkup,
Ho,
letting,
ho, ho.
letting them know what the property is worth, popping
Merry
by,
Christmas.
bringing them their Christmas present. I'm sure you're buying them a cheaper gift this year than you were last year, but at least bring them a card.
Or
And
Christmas cookie.
Christmas cookie instead of a dozen. You used to get a dozen cookies for each customer. Now you got a dozen
Sorry,
cookies
you get
for
one cookie.
one cookie for each of the 12 you close
Sorry,
in
it's
the last
half
year.
eaten. I
Yeah.
got hungry in the car. Yeah.
How come the sprinkles are licked off? I love my daughter. I had to give my daughter.
Hey, guys. Where did we just go off track?
we got way off track, but we're gonna have a lot more as we wrap up the year. We're gonna be putting tips and tools out there, short form on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page, and tune in because we are going to be part of the 2025 grind. Come along with us, and we'll help you take your business to the next level. You got
Yeah, I
anything
mean, let's just do it. You know, I mean, and there's so much other things that we can get into, not tonight, but you know, I think people need to also look at their brokerage and what is their brokerage actually offering them going into 2025. You know, and I don't just say that to try and, you know, spark a conversation immediately with us, but I think too many people are complacent in their brokerage. And as things change and as money gets tighter, what is your brokerage actually offering you?
Yeah, it's important. It's a
You
big
know.
must for sure.
So take a look at that in 2025 too.
All right,
That's it, man.
that's it. So
Man.
tune in. We're going to do one more before the end of the year,
Yep.
and then we're going to wrap up because I don't know about you, but I'm going to be up in Wisconsin
That sounds chilly.
at Christmas time with
Yeah,
family.
No,
And then we'll come back after the first of the year, so it'll be the second Tuesday in so one next week, and then the second Tuesday in January.
Yeah.
Team Ninja RE will be back with every tip, tool, and advice that you could ever imagine needing to be successful in the real estate business. And again, thanks for tuning in. I'm Ralph Nudie,
Hank Bertadato.
and this is the Team Ninja Real Estate Podcast.
Hi!